So, there's a lot of people who hate me on the internet, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Let them have their fun. And I rarely waste my time dealing with such people because you've got to choose your targets. And obviously, if you're going to spend your time responding to every moronic hater with a dumbass comment, you're going to be rendered ineffective very quickly. So you got to prioritize your stuff, and for the large part, I try to stay on target. However, periodically I do like to actually sort of take a look around and see what people have been saying. Now, honestly, I did try to cut this montage of haters down, but it's just so epic. However, if you do want to cut forward to see the fall of Thunderfoot, scroll forward about 8 minutes. In the meanwhile, cue the haters.
And argue with his followers, but you're never going to get through to them. It's because they've turned Thunderfoot into a persona, and they turned his persona into a religion, and they made Thunderfoot their god.
And I think that Thunderfoot, you are pathetic, you are megalomaniacal, you are self-absorbed, you think your shit doesn't stink, and you know what? You are an absolute fucking piece of garbage. You are a maggot. You are nothing more than a abscess on the ass of the fucking humanity.
If you say Thunderfoot is a great scientist and supports logic and reason, this is what you support. You support a rape apologist and misogynist. Essentially, just combine everything terrible you can think of in the world. Pretty much it, right? It's hard for him to get much worse.
I'm just gonna go all out for it. Thunderfoot's racist. I'm sick of this shit.
It's actually funny. It's so stupid, it's funny. It's so ridiculous, it's funny. But Thunderfoot should fucking know better. That's why I asked him on Twitter, why do you feel like you don't need to read the literature in order to discuss feminist theory?
Okay, Thunderfoot. I'm not just saying fuck you anymore. I'm telling you, Thunderfoot, that I fucked your mum. Okay? Your mum's a fucking whore who burns in hell, and I fucking fucked her in hell, and I'm gonna fuck her again. I fucked your fucking mum up the fucking ass in hell. Fuck you, Thunderfoot. Fuck you.
This is why, Thunderfoot, I can't wait for the white men at the top of the atheist community, the Four Horsemen, and the people like you and Pat Condell. I can't wait for you guys to hurry up and pass away so that more women and non-whites can take their proper seat at the table.
Thunderfoot is a clown, is essentially not a good person, doesn't actually believe in scientists, or doesn't believe in science, not a good scientist, doesn't actually support logic or reason.
If you don't even understand how hard analysis works, if you don't understand what feminism is, Thunderfoot, that's clearly the case. And you can't make the distinction between feminist philosophy and feminist activism and feminist art criticism and feminist science.
It's so great that Yale has finally forbidden men from taking science. Now let's see, should I major in chemistry or galgebra?
Hello, I am Dr. Phil Mason, the cat scientist. Scientist.
So there's no point in making arguments for me that aren't true, okay?
I'm making the argument that
I do wish that evil motherfuckers get exactly what they fucking deserve. Thunderfoot is an asshole, a dangerous asshole, and frankly, if I could run him over myself accidentally, I wouldn't mind the pleasure of it.
And I can't stress enough that in that regard, I will fuck you over for that one of these days if it's the last thing I ever do.
The hate is swelling in you now.
Just, motherfucker, I hate you, Phil.
Let the hate flow through you.
You don't, God damn it. I fucking son of a bitch, I can't even talk.
Fuck you, you fucking asshole, you fucking cunt, you're scum, you are vermin.
You've demonstrated time and time again that you know nothing about it. You don't even respect it to go learn about it. Because you think it's bullshit. You think something is bullshit without even studying it.
Clear that you, Thunderfoot, have not got any fucking dick. Now sue me, you fat-necked fucking arsehole.
Dick butt. Dick butt. Also, it's Thunderfoot. It's a dick butt. It's not right with his name, it's just a fucking dick butt. Seriously. Or an ass butt, I guess, what LOL what Holmes would say. He's a dick butt because he's either stupid or he's evil. He's blank.
You're exactly the kind of person who the Nazis relied on to be able to carry out the final solution.
Creationists ask, where's the fucking transitional form? You're the fucking transitional form.
Thunder fucking cock. Yeah, that's you, Thunderfoot, you fucking idiot. Mocks that person on Twitter. Fuck you, Thunderfoot. You're an asshole. Who the fuck gives you the right to do that?
I'm going to exercise my freedom of speech by drawing Mr. Thunderfoot, aka Phil Mason, as a vagina.
You're just a... I don't even have words for what I think you are. You're just a bigoted, misogynistic piece of garbage. Go fuck yourself, Thunderfoot. Seriously. You and all the other males.
Even to imagine that scum like you existed to propagate humanity is still an insult to human beings.
I don't give a fuck who you are, Phil. I will knock your dick in the dirt if I have to. And like I said, one of these days, I am going to find a way to fuck you over for what you did, one way or the other. If it's the last fucking thing I do, okay? And that might violate some of my ethics, but at that point, I'm really not going to care.
Thunderfoot. I am now thoroughly convinced that if it wasn't for your PhD, the only job society would entrust you with is to be used as a doorstop.
And the reason I can say that you must be a sociopath is because you lack empathy.
Right? This is your face. You're fucking scum.
Because you are so unintelligent, or just outright shitty of a person.
I created this video called 92Z, Thunderfoot Smiles, ... question mark.
That's exactly what you are, Phil Mason. You are a worthless, spineless coward who I wish would just fucking go away. Got it?
But I'd fucking kill you. If I saw you on the fucking high street tomorrow, I'd fucking kill you. Wouldn't even fucking think about it. Fuck you, Thunderfoot. Fuck you!
I also wonder what the Muslim Student Association on that campus would believe about a faculty member endorsing these sort of bigoted opinions, which is why I sent every single one of them your videos, your statements, with your name attached.
Alright, I do hate these assholes, and I hate the evil they do. Period. I don't have any empathy or concern for their welfare whatsoever. They're
So
fucking
don't care if they end up in the hospital.
I don't care where. I hope he ends up with a telephone pole rammed right the fuck up his ass, because that's what he deserves. He deserves to be raped for eternity.
To recognize that harassment is, as someone had mentioned, it's not just what is legal and illegal, right? Harassment is threats of violence, but it's also the day-to-day grind of you're a liar, you suck.
Where I hope he ends up with a telephone pole rammed right the fuck up his ass, because that's what he deserves. He deserves to be raped for eternity.
So it was I came across this wonderful article called Lessons from the Fall of Thunderfoot. And I'm like, what? What? I've fallen? I didn't get that memo. Oh, when did 2012. This is a very slow memo. Thomas Paine's Ghost, Freethinkers Cove. Yeah, good for him. The article is Lessons from the Fall of Thunderfoot. And now it's going to set the background by saying, once upon a time there was a young man named Phil Mason who, under the pseudonym yada yada yada, made videos about creationists, yada yada yada. Fine, if they're going to fall, they've got to get somewhere to fall from first. And he's basically going to say this was all dead easy. Anyone could have made these videos about all the gazillions of subjects that were covered in Why Do People Laugh at Creationists. Anyone could have done that. There was no real scientific insight was actually required for any of those videos. Thunderfoot made a mini video vanquishing his enemies where he exposed them as utter slimeballs. Westboro Baptist Church, Ray Comfort and Venom Fang X being some of the most egregious creationists he refuted over the years. Cool, I can feel it coming. Come on, tell me about the lessons from the fall of Thunderfoot. But making yourself look good when you're pitted against idiots is an easy task, I suppose. Okay, that's nice. It's much more difficult to convince someone who you mostly agree with about some subtle point you happen to differ in opinion over.
Is it face or vase? You gonna be asking that the whole trip?
Well, actually, I wouldn't even bother to make videos about some subtle difference in opinion. There are more than enough serious issues to go around without worrying about subtle points. So, now I think we're getting into the fall of Thunderfoot here. As Thunderfoot and his droves of fans made their way to a new internet venue, Free Thought Blogs. Oh, he's talking about the Free Thought Blogs thing. For those who don't know, way back, this was before even the words social justice warrior were even in common parlance. There was a blogging network called Free Thought Blogs. Now, for a time, it was actually seen as a fairly decent place, but as it turns out, just about the time that I was joining it was about the time that it was becoming completely infested with feminists who wanted to exclude everyone else who didn't agree with them. And honestly, had I actually done some checking on it, I would have never joined them in the first place. But what can I say? I didn't, and I happened to join them, and it happened. Anyway, so he's going to say, things got a bit hairy. Phil decided to test the boundaries right off the bat. Keep in mind, he was invited to this forum in an attempt to include more video participation at the Free Thought Blogs network. And that's true enough. He came in at the same time as other free-thinking rationalist video bloggers like Christina Rad. Oh my word. That's another name I've not heard for a long time. So Christina Rad, she was kind of like this Shaun ahead of her day in that she was very good looking, she made good videos, and she was funny. Okay, so come on, let's get on to my downfall there. Phil decided to make his debut at Free Thought Blogs by taking serious swings at some prominent feminist bloggers, namely the founder of the Skeptic Network, Rebecca Watson.
That's right, you liberal intellectual guy who has a healthy interest in science and skepticism, but who finds feminism distasteful and would rather not hear about it. You are worse than rape threats.
Phil accused Rebecca of causing unnecessary rifts in the skeptical community by shouting rape at conferences without warranting his opinion. Google Elevatorgate. Yes, you Google Elevatorgate. And what you'll find is, no, it wasn't shouting rape, that's a hyperbole, but she was basically shouting misogyny at everything at atheist conferences. Or take, for instance, the professional victims who went from conference to conference, telling people each time that the sexual harassment at those conferences was so bad that they were literally putting their lives on the line merely by turning up.
Those lessons, you can't trust the cops, you can't trust people to believe your story, you can't trust the people who hang out with you at these events, you can't trust the leaders of our community to give a damn.
That it was so dangerous that they had to go around in pairs.
So at the conference, all of the skeptic writers who were there instituted a buddy system in which we always traveled together or with a male escort, and especially when returning to hotel rooms late at night.
Even though, of course, the sexual harassment was so bad that all these poor defenseless women might not even have known they were being sexually harassed unless there was a feminist organisation there that could educate them about just what a horrific social injustice this harassment that they weren't even aware of was.
I'm going to read one first. It says, I've hung around with atheists and skeptics, and I've never encountered this problem, that being sexism or misogyny. His name is Rick, obviously. I suspect he's flat-chested. That's,
Well, but it's important to remember that there are also women who have hung out in these communities who have never experienced, who would say that they've never experienced sexism. And that's not to say that I'm implying that they're lying. More that I think that there are a lot of things that are part of a misogynist culture or milieu that would go by unnoticed by most women. They went unnoticed by me for most of my 20s.
So this whole elevator gate thing was she hung out in a bar at an atheist conference till 4 o'clock in the morning.
At the bar later that night, actually at 4 in the morning, we were at the hotel bar.
And then went to go back to a room, and in the elevator some guy propositioned her for coffee.
And a man got on the elevator with me and said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but I find you very interesting and I would like to talk more. Would you like to come to my hotel room for coffee?"
Never really quite clear whether he was actually an atheist or whether he was at the conference or he was just hanging out in the bar till 4 o'clock in the morning.
That is exactly the kind of idiot you see at Taco Bell at 1 in the morning. The guy who just whiffed his way down the bar skank ladder.
But whatever. He asked her out for coffee, obviously a euphemism for sex. She says no. They go back to their rooms. The next day, she comes out about how this shows. This is an example of the misogyny in the atheist community.
"Don't take this the wrong way, but I find you very interesting and I would like to talk more. Would you like to come to my hotel room for coffee?" Fascinating. I wanted to thank all of the misogynists who commented on that video because some people will watch that video and they'll think that maybe I'm exaggerating. You know how girls are, sensitive. So thank you for not hiding your misogyny. Thank you for putting it on display.
And not, say, for instance, part of the normal ecosystem of a bar, especially at 4 o'clock in the morning when things are getting desperate.
Uh-oh, jealousy. You think you're so hot?
What?
The only reason you get all the guys is because you dress like a tramp.
They're just responding to my personality.
Some people will watch that video and they'll think that maybe I'm exaggerating. You know how girls are, sensitive. And also give them the support structure they need to keep going in the face of blatant misogyny.
Yeah, I mean, it was complete bullshit. And that's what really caused the rift, is then you got Richard Dawkins weighed in on this and basically said, keep this in perspective, guys. And then all hell broke loose and there were a load of people saying, oh, no, we need people like Rebecca Watson to be head of skeptical movements. And it's like, why? She doesn't really do anything. She's famous for being famous, maybe? I don't know. What has Rebecca Watson ever done? Anyway, long story short, I did for a while join Free Thought Blogs, and it went south straight away. So they actually signed me up to this back channel of theirs without actually realizing that they'd signed me up, even though it was actually all put out on the email. And they thought I was the amazing atheist because that's the sort of quality of person you were dealing with at Free Thought Blogs. And they were all bad-mouthing me for one thing or another, called me a racist, misogynist, this, that, and the other. And so, I basically called the way that I saw that it was going, which, with hindsight, was a fucking bullseye. The problem is that many in leadership positions have managed to get themselves bullied or cajoled into this bullshit PC appeasement position by people who are conspicuous in that they proudly label themselves as feminists.
The response at the conference itself was wonderful. There were a ton of great feminists there, male and female.
So, I basically laid it on the line that, no, they were talking shit. And Elevator Gate wasn't an example of misogyny. It was an example of hypersensitivity. And they wanted all these rules and regulations at conferences, which eventually they got. And then they sort of spread throughout the whole community. I mean, for brevity, I'll skip the 40% of the code of conduct that relates to gays, lesbians, trans people, and so on. I mean, holy fucking shit. 40% of your code of conduct relates to trans people. I mean, why is it you think that I need a manual on how to interact with trans people? And to be honest, I'm not even sure I've ever met anyone who is trans. But you don't think that I need a similar manual on how to interact with everyone else. I mean, it just drips of this sterile, PC banality that would just suck the life out of any convention before it's even begun. Until you got your absolutely absurd rules and regulations at the latest Reason Rally, and it's things like that that basically killed the atheist community. Okay, so yeah, I was kicked off after a week, so come on, tell me about the fall of Thunderfoot. I understand why the free thought blogs leaders, namely PC Myers, gave Phil the axe almost immediately. FTB is turning out to be a juggernaut in the identity politics coalescing around the free-thinking, humanist, atheist plus community.
Oh, Johnny, did you back the wrong horse? Will you hose him, please?
Then goes on, Thunderfoot's free to keep making videos, yada yada yada. We are all allowed to choose our associates, especially on the internet. We can choose to ignore whoever we want. The bigger the tribe, the harsher the effects of a public shunning. So I seem to remember the public shunning they're talking about here. If I remember rightly, I think it was about 150,000 subscribers at the time, and this horrific public shunning by this juggernaut of free-thinking humanists and atheism plus communities meant that I lost, I forget it was, a couple hundred subscribers, something like that. When I had 150,000, now I've got over 600,000. And just to keep that fully in perspective, Free Thought Blogs now actually struggles to get 1/3 hits per month. And its trends look something like this, whilst my channel gets approximately 10 times that. It's about 3 million hits a month or something. But anyway, come on, give me the punchline. Now, I'd like to explain why I see the demise of Thunderfoot on Free Thought Blogs as a good thing. Oh, boy. So rather than have a frontman on Free Thought Blogs defending his right to be a bit sleazy at skeptic conferences, not quite what I was after. I was more after we shouldn't be appeasing hypersensitive feminists at skeptical conferences. Slight difference, I can see how you might have misunderstood me. I'd much rather have strong feminists like Rebecca Watson and Jen McCreight, who also speak out against anti-vaxxers and other charlatans, yada yada yada. The biggest lesson I take from the fall of Thunderfoot is choose your battles wisely. Well, those are sage words of wisdom there. I'll bear that in mind for next time. So in summary, Atheism Plus is dead. Oh, this channel alone pulls in about 10 times as much traffic as the whole of Free Thought Blogs and Skeptic. I think it's fair to say that the rumours of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. In fact, honestly, it looks like my quip about I don't debate enemies, I bury them is actually cuttingly close to the mark. And the more people profess, predict and brag about how they think the Pale Rider is coming for Thunderfoot, the more succinct the irony when they realise that the Pale Rider has indeed come. But it ain't for me.